Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Wolf back again. And real quick, I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to point out where I screwed up on the last analysis video. And I feel like it's one of those things where if I don't make this and I don't talk about it, then I'm just not going to learn my damn lesson. And what that is that, at the time that I made that video and was, looking at the analysis, and I was kind of thinking like, okay, it did seem like, we had this big bullish divergence going. And I was like, yeah, it does seem like it's going to go up. RSIs were going up. But it still kind of felt like, we had those higher time frames that were looking a little bit bearish. And the middle time frames were kind of, on the fence, doing the little fence sitter thing. And I was kind of leaning a little bit bearish overall. And I think what I didn't pay enough attention to, even though I pointed it out, but I didn't give it the proper amount of weight that I should have, was, this money flow coming up. I'm over here. This is the 2 hour, but, you could jump over to the hourly. And again, this was like back here, I think, when I was starting to see this dip, and it was feeling like, I started seeing that bigger dip after it. And I was looking like, even though we came up in the green at that point, it was super weak. It was small. And up here, on these higher ones, we were still coming down into the red on the money flow, which we're not terribly great at right where we're at right now. But, it was looking worse there. And down here on the lower time frames, as we were starting to come up, we had this wicked split right here in the RSIs. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't confident in the shorter time frame, but what that was a very good lesson of is that, even with this gigantic RSI split, and it's funny too, because I even mentioned that it could possibly come back together. And so it's like I had the right answer in me, but I didn't, I didn't put enough weight in the right place. And I kind of let the RSI start to kind of twist my perception a little bit, when I should follow my own damn advice and say, okay, you know what, what's the money flow doing? And pretty much, all the way from these, tens to, lower hourly time frames, the money flow was generally looking like it was heading up, and more likely than not, it was going to continue to head up. And so I figured, okay, well, at least it was going to go up a little bit, but I was just, I don't know, it had that unsure feeling that I wasn't sure how long and how strong it was going to do it. Now, granted, this hasn't been, a monster, uptrend here, but it's just been, just slugging it out, just steadily going up, which is actually a pretty good thing to have, because it's fairly healthy when it's doing that. But I just wanted to kind of come on here and talk about it because, if it's a mistake that I'm making, odds are other people are probably making it. And, I do hear from a lot of people who are just kind of struggling with, reading Market Cipher and being able to to make the right call. And obviously, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not making the right call every single time. I'm very thankful that I've been making more right calls than wrong calls for a little while now. And especially since I've started this channel and really started diving deeper into it, it's helped a lot. So I figured it might be helpful to somebody to make this and just talk about something that is very easy to get hung up on, especially after you see, all this downside action, and, you don't get an immediate rebound right back up to the upside, but you just kind of like roll this curved bottom and then start coming up. And I was, starting to get hung up right in here where we started consolidating. And then when I woke up in the morning, we had that big old uptrend overnight, at least, for my time. And I was kind of disappointed because I had actually cut a long position right there during that consolidation, like before I went to bed, which obviously would have worked out much better had I just let it ride. And I woke up just as it was starting to pull back to the downside too. So man, that would have been Nice. So that one was really bugging me for like the entire day. So I'm like, okay, I went back, wanted to look at it and just see, like, why did I make the wrong call? Why did I cut that trade too early? And, you know, we were starting to see, like, right here where even the momentum waves were getting a little funky. Again, RSI split, you know, big time. So this is almost just a reminder to myself, and I suppose you as well, just to remember the order of operations. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video a little while back called Order of Operations, and it's like, you know, which indications should take precedence over other ones. And this is a prime example of how easy it is to screw that up. Oops. And so, you know, coming up here, even just on the hourly, it's like, you know, you see this money flow coming up. I mean, at the time we were still like back here, but again, even just going by, you know, the robot VWAP rule, we stayed up above zero for plenty of time, and RSIs did stay tight together, even though, you know, at the time that I cut it, you know, we were still low down here. But just got to trust in that money flow. Even if, you know, even if you had a case like this where you're coming down and you're coming back up, you know, better to lead with that indication prior to looking at some of the other ones. Like in this specific case, you know, we had already been choppy for a little bit, so you would also take that in mind, you know. And over here we were choppy before finally getting a bigger one, but we did have this, you know, general trend in the momentum waves going right there. So this one was a little bit easier to telegraph. But this guy here, you know, after a big dip, especially lately, you know, we've been having, you know, big day or two to the upside, day or two to the downside, you know, day or two to the upside, which here we've actually lasted most of the week. I forget which day did this start. So 26, so like 2 days ago. But, you know, I'm going to leave this quick and leave it short, but just remember, you know, money flow is going to take precedence over other things. And remember to trust in those higher time frames a little bit more, you know, especially like right now. Here's a good example. We're starting to get a developing uptrend here on the momentum waves on the 4 hour. Now it does look like we may, you know, have a little bit of a pullback here, but a bit early. We do have VWAP getting close to crossing to the downside. Didn't really get much in the green on the money flow. Started spreading a bit here on the RSI, but it's hard to completely make that call with just one little candle right here. And I mean, even still, you know, we're still getting yellow diamonds, haven't caught a red one yet. You know, we'll see what happens when the VWAP does finally cross over to the downside. But, you know, just to bump up to the higher ones, you know, we're still in the red, but again, you know, still generally increasing on the money flow, even though it's been, you know, kind of crappy at this level right here. You know, RSIs did start pulling back together, but they weren't all that spread to begin with, but they're pulling back together as it's, you know, potentially starting to turn back. So we'll see what goes on with that. You know, do have fairly long upward trend on these momentum waves, despite the fact that, you know, even up to right here, price was still going down. So that could be a pretty, you know, bullishly divergent situation going on right there. But it's also been, you know, very, very volatile lately. You know, even though, you know, we did have some pretty clear move to the downside here with the money flow, it's been, you know, almost a little stretched out, kind of choppy. And, you know, as a result, we're getting these larger erratic swings, like 1 to 2 day long type swings. So we shall see. You know, RSI still bouncing around here around the bottom. Kind of feels like we may be in for a pullback now, but starting to get a little resistance forming up there, a little support forming down there. But all right, you know, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, you know, anything that, you know, you guys yourself are struggling with or have struggled with, or maybe if you have a good solution to, you know, dealing with the kind of second guessing or reading into it a little bit too far in the wrong direction, anything like that, by all means, let me know down in the comments. And next video coming at you guys is going to be another Pine script tutorial. I've been working on that one pretty much every night. Only did like 3 hours of it last night just because, man, it was starting to put me to sleep. But I didn't want to like just dig super deep and nerdy into like all the granular details, so I'm pushing through a couple chapters to just come back and be like, okay, this is a good summary of the basics, because the next video is probably going to come off a little bit boring, so I'll try to make it as not boring as I can. A tough thing to make it exciting, so we shall see. We'll do the best we can. But also, you know, let me know. I'm happy to see how many views that the Pine script video got already. So hopefully it's something that you guys are interested in. And, you know, after getting through this kind of basic fundamentals, you know, we'll start getting into making some indicators, and should be cool. I already started playing with a few things, just probably getting more complicated than I should right off, you know, the bat here, but I'll give you a little sneak peek here. Hold on. So that took that MACD program and yeah, added a little something in there just to see what would happen through this little test variable in there. It's using the bars since function, and just tell you, so it counts the number of bars since the last time the condition was true, and the condition was rising, which is test if the source series is now rising for the length of bars long. So it's basically saying, like, are you getting, you know, every 5 consecutive new highs, how many bars since that happened? And I'm not even like using that information in any kind of cool way, but I'm playing around with, you know, I'm working myself up to like a divergence indicator to have it, you know, actually show the divergence. It'd be nice to show it over here on Market Cipher B, but anyway, I got to do it. I'm going to make it work, but I want to base it off of Market Cipher B. So I'm playing around with like some of the basic concepts, working up to that. So I will keep you abreast of it, and I will see you guys later. I'm not going to do the big analysis because you can see what's going on with Bitcoin. Everybody else is pretty much following the same. Let's see. Yeah, Litecoin's basically doing the same at the moment, but it did kind of curl up a little bit more. Let's see, anybody else in the green? Monero. Never really did get the big pump, you know, came down and just kind of rolled out this bottom. So we'll see, maybe it has a more gradual roll back up to the upside. Elastos, man, the last 2 days it's staying in the green. Look at that though. Woo! That's that crazy shit coin stop loss killer. So remember, if you're not doing the blue chips and you're playing around with some of these little low caps or whatever, you know, low liquidity ones, you know, watch out for these guys right there, because they will kick you in the nuts and leave you crying on the ground with all your money gone. All right, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Have a wonderful day and evening and life. Remember, stay happy. It's too short to be salty, too short to get mad. Even if you lose a trade or something, remember, risk management, try not to lose a ton, and then you're not going to have to worry about getting super depressed or anything. So be responsible. But remember, no matter what happens, you're still alive. It'll be all right. So, later.